It's hard to believe that we've had 3 separate matchups, a 4th about ready to conclude. Some upsets, some not so upsets, Husky, and some great action all around. But that's what you can expect every weekend that you tune into the PokerStrategy.com TSL3. It is now time for Game 3, the deciding game to find out if the Team Liquid favorite, Jinro, who's been doing so well in Korea, can take out mouz.MorroW, the Terran turned Zerg, who has certainly been making some waves for himself in international competitions. 2 different styles clashing. We've got MorroW fighting as the blue Zerg in the southeast position, and Liquid Jinro as the red Terran in the northwest, and this one game will decide it all.
Now, before this game gets too far underway, I do want to give a big thanks, of course, to the sponsor, Poker Strategy, and also to everyone out there that is watching, whether you're alone, whether you're with your friends, are staying up way too late, and your parents are going to be pissed about it when they find out tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't even know how many viewers there are. At least 2, though, named DJ Wheat and Husky, so it is all down to this very last game. I am nerding out so hard. I'm actually standing right now because I cannot sit still while sitting, and yeah, this is going to be epic. I can't believe how well MorroW played in Game 1. Actually played really well in Game 2, just not when it counted in the very early stages of that game. And so if he can bring the game he brought in Game number 1, that is a very scary Zerg to go against. He has not been playing macro style in any of these games, really relying on Zergling and Baneling in the early stages rather than going for Mutalisk, Zergling, and Baneling in the later stages. So is he going to be more terrifying in this game as well? I do want to mention in the main bases, at the entrance, there is destructible debris there. Only 1,000 HP on those. Very easy to destroy those. Usually, destructible debris has 2,000. That could play a huge role, especially in the play style that we've seen so far from MorroW. We'll see if he decides to utilize that.
Yeah, and you know what? I am already so excited based off of what we've seen from the opening moves to see how this game is going to play out, because we've got a quasi Game 1 happening again here where we saw the very, very quick expansion by Jinro. He's got 1 barracks, 2nd barracks down at his choke, and meanwhile, we had MorroW go ahead and fast expand as well. His pool is at 50%. So, you know, scouting's going to come in here big. And although we've had Overlord scouting, I do not yet. No, there we go. He's going to see in there. And MorroW knows everything that's going on right now. And I just love that Jinro is that confident enough, especially versus a Zerg that's lightly going to fast expand, that he does exactly the same way. And I know that's something that the new maps are sort of giving players the liberty to do and change it up a little bit. But this really excites me that we get to see some different dynamics of play because of it.
Absolutely. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that MorroW is actually taking the expansion outside of the base, which is more fruitful. There is going to be more minerals and more gas there, but it is much more difficult to expand. So is his playstyle going to rely on going a 2-base heavy macro really quickly and moving out style, or is he planning to take that 3rd base right away inside of his main? So while Jinro is expanding right away like we saw in Game number 1, it is to an expansion that is not nearly as good as it was on the other map. And he also has an idle SCV chilling at his expansion for Jinro, so he needs to make sure to take care of that. But it's just going to be interesting because really, yes, Jinro is getting an early expansion, but the Zerg expansion is slightly better than the one that Jinro has. And every mineral patch does matter, especially at the high level of play. And we do have now MorroW moving out with his 4 Zerglings. The thing about this map, guess what? 4 watchtowers, and that means you can see the entire center of the map if he decides to split up all of his Zerglings, which he is.
Yeah, that's just perfection there, as he's going to get all of them. Actually, he's going to send 1 additional out. And I like what you said about that expansion choice by the Zerg, because it's definitely risk versus reward. Sure, we're going to see Zerg with a little bit more reward there, but at the same time, he definitely has a lot more surface area to defend. Going to be harder to get those units out if he's got to. We're going to see a Baneling Nest go down for the 3rd time for MorroW. So seemingly that is a strategy that he is comfortable with, okay with. He's going to run up, see this 3 barracks, and he's like, hey, this looks mildly familiar to me. Maybe I'll go ahead and do the exact same thing I did. Now, this is also the beauty of it all, Husky. You can see that Jinro's like, okay, well, the same thing that happened in game one could happen to me now. So check this out. I'm going to put my tech lab on the inside. And there was no chance that that's going to be taken down by Banelings unless he does go for some crazy bust. So I just love the way that this game is actually playing out. Meanwhile, some more Zerglings coming up. Speed is about to finish. So that will let these Zerglings become a little bit more mobile, get a little bit more information. More coming out now. But is he producing the same amount as he was? It looks like he has cut drones as more Zerglings on the way. Look at them stream forth. Oh my god, 20 more coming. It could happen right here.
Yeah, we could see another entrance bust like we saw in game number 1. Now, the important thing to note is that Jinro doesn't know if MorroW is on 3 base or the only 2 because he hasn't scouted that center location, and so he's preparing for a 2 base attack, but he could potentially be going against a 3 base macro Zerg. But as you mentioned, this wall is very robust. The important thing is that not all 3 barracks will be hit by Banelings just because of the positioning of them on the top of that ramp. We do have that +1 attack on the way, stim pack on the way as well, but that tech lab is not vulnerable to the Banelings like it was in the last game. Great building positioning there. Once again, MorroW is going to be hyper aggressive in this game, probably going to continue streaming units over here. The reason I say hyper aggressive is because he's not making drones at all, even though Zerg players usually would. Here comes the Banelings right now, going to try and buzz down the rock. They have actually destroyed the entrance. Impact doesn't look like it's finished, although the Marines are spread out. MorroW is going to run in here and try and do as much damage as he can. All 3 barracks in the red or destroyed. Here come more Banelings, could blow up all the SCVs. It looks like it blew up at least 10 to 15 SCVs there, able to do an insane amount of damage. I swear to God, I'm just going to die right now.
Oh, that was just so much, and we did see the stim get stopped right there. We saw a lot of Marines die a death, but most importantly, how many Harvesters did we see blow up there? Looking at the units tab, it is now 22 SCVs to 35 drones, and keep in mind that MorroW all but stopped drone production. In fact, he is still holding back on that as more Zerglings and more Banelings streaming forward. We've got more barracks coming in, and if he can get them before they are up, of course they will be much less hit points to go through, a lot less Marines here to deal with this. And will he move forward? He has a lot more Zerglings this time around, and he's going to wait for these Banelings to morph in. There is going to be approximately 12 more Banelings to go. 1 barracks has finished, and they could go forward anytime. More Zerglings streaming out, and this is it. This is that July Zerg style, cutting drones and moving forward. And can MorroW continue to break down his opponent?
This is such a tense moment. MorroW still has not had the lair tech at all. He just wants to end this right now. He is actually droning up right now to try and follow this up. So even if he loses this battle, he will have a safe economy to fall back onto, a nice little comfy bed. Here he goes right now. Same amount of Banelings. It looks like gotta try and blow up these buildings. Can he bust through? Blowing up 2 of the barracks. The other 2 gotta go down because they are in the red. Looks like MorroW is in the base. He is completely loose. 2 left of Zerglings loose inside Jinro's base. They are destroying everything. There is action all over Jinro's base. He's trying to micro as best he can. The expansion is going down as well as the main mineral line SCVs. I don't think Jinro can actually hold this at all. Has MorroW actually defeated Jinro? Someone who has made it to the TSL 4 times. Wow, or twice rather, to the top 4, but oh my god, the hyper-aggressive style of MorroW not only is going to give me an aneurysm, but is also going to destroy Jinro in this matchup. His play style so unique, and he just does not give up with those Baneling busts. We saw Baneling busts in all 3 games, I think utilizing a build that not a lot of Zerg players use these days, and it worked beautifully. It's crazy to me that he is able to bust down barracks walls with an engineering bay, and the Marines split perfectly. If you guys go and watch that game again in the replay or what have you, look at how spread out Jinro's Marines were. Still was not able to hold that at all. I am speechless, to say the most, because that's really all I can say, is that series was very, very good.
Dude, that series was pretty sick, and I mean, I hate to kind of pour salt into a wound, but that means the result of that matchup means that we lost 2 Team Liquid members in this day 2 of the opening weekend, with Liquid Huck going down 2-1 to Hasuavs, and then Jinro going down 2-1 to mouz.MorroW, both times by very effective Baneling bust. And you know what? It's got to be annoying because twice we saw Stim pretty much stopped short by MorroW, and anytime you can delay that as a Zerg, you can sit back and do the happy dance because it's like, oh yes, I still have some form of advantage, and I won't just get chewed apart by those Marines. And that constant pressure, you take a huge risk when you do that, because if it doesn't work and your opponent is able to counterattack, you might have less drones, less economy to be able to bring it back. You might have a lot less units being produced at any given time. So it is definitely risk and reward, and that risk came out big time as mouz.MorroW will advance on, and now it will be a PVZ featuring Hasuas versus MorroW. That is absolutely crazy. So should we talk about next week?
Yeah, I actually had it brought up here, and then it looks like you guys are swarming TL so much I can't even load the page again. So I don't know if you have the matchups coming up.
I've got
next
it up.
Week, yes, you go ahead and read it, because apparently you guys broke TL.
All right, so it happened yesterday too. That is so awesome. Saturday, March 26th. Hopefully it's like just awesome because so many people are going there. But Saturday, March 26th is our next day, as we will have Chill and Husky teaming up to bring us MVP versus Adel Scott. Korean versus a TL Open winner. Root QXC versus MVP Genius. I am Nesty versus ESC Goody. And Dignitas Naniwa versus Team Liquid App Factory. Liquid Ret will be the 4 matches. And what do you think about those? Any that just immediately pop out in your brain and go, oh my God, I can't wait to see?
Well, it sounds like there is going to be a lot of Koreans next week, and definitely looking forward to that to see how well they do so far, giving us a good show. No surprise, though, that the majority of Koreans going to be advancing through this tournament. I think a lot of people expect that just because, Korea has had StarCraft on lockdown for a very long time. And so no surprise to see them do well. So make sure to stay tuned next week. It will be the same time, and of course a day earlier, as well as there are 2 days back-to-back that are on the TSL3. So make sure you do not miss a stream. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. This has been an absolute blast and honor. Thanks for joining me, DJ Weed. It was fantastic. Cannot wait for the future games. And make sure to check out the VODs as well. If you missed a single game or you want to learn from these games, players are pulling out all the stops in these games. And so make sure to stay tuned to those replays. Study them if you want to get better. I am going to be studying those White Raw games because they were insane. I think a lot of Zerg players can learn from the MorroW games today. And regardless, though, some upsets, some not upsets, like you said before. And I am freaking out. I'm going to go have to take a nap and drink some more milk to calm down.
There you go.
But thank you guys for tuning in. That's really all I have to say, DJ. So if you have anything else, thank you so much.
Yes, I would like to echo that as well. Husky, thank you. Had an absolute blast. This actually marked the first time that we'd ever had an opportunity to cast together, and I had a blast. Seems like we've kind of been doing it for a while. So I also wanted to mention, because some people were asking, what about the Sunday matchups? We've got EG Idra taking on Cole Cruncher, which is just a community drama-filled matchup that I can't wait to see. Empire Kaz versus Liquid Hey Pro. MYM Mondragon versus Zrax, and Nada taking on TLO. That'll be by DJ Wheat. Me and Day 9, that'll be Sunday, March 27th. So yeah, Husky, I've had a blast. Guys, don't forget to check out all the TSL3 related posts, some great interviews, some great game analysis. You can find the replays, the VODs, and all that good stuff. Don't forget about that raffle as well if you are a non-U.S. citizen. And Husky, we'll see you return next week with Chill. I'll be back next week with Day 9. And thanks for coming out for the opening weekend of the PokerStrategy.com TSL3. This has been Day 2 from DJ Wheat and Husky. We'll see you next time. Peace.
StarCraft rules. Yeah.